Hi guys, this is Pete and this is Man United point of view on Man United's recent game versus Crystal Palace, which we drew 1-1. Obviously a disappointing result, puts us a little bit back in the title race, but more a race for top four for United. I think we shouldn't be getting too ambitious about the title. So before I get into this match reaction, let's just have a word from our sponsors. Today's video is sponsored by the guys over at Ball Tactics. Check out their website for match previews and reviews with some tongue-in-cheek humour and a great insight into the game. They're putting out some really good stuff, guys. I really implore you guys to check it out. So today's match reaction is going to have my thoughts on the game, man of the match poll, some comments on that poll that I got through Twitter, and also my player ratings. I think it's going to be quite a quick one, hopefully. So my thoughts on the game. Obviously a game that we did control without playing superbly. I think, you know, we didn't create too many chances, which is something obviously we need to work on. Even though we didn't create loads of chances, we were comfortable in the game, 1-0 up. We should have shown a bit more of a killer side to us to get that second goal, because obviously when you don't get that second goal, things like this can happen. Crystal Palace obviously scored a wonderful set piece, great free kick by Elise. Obviously very disappointing as a United fan that we ended up drawing a game that we should have won, and obviously it's put us a little bit back in our thoughts of a title race, but maybe it's a bit of a reality check just to show where exactly we are. We should be concentrating more on top four than getting in the title race, but obviously if we win at the weekend, then I might change my tune again. So yeah, getting into the game, obviously we had a debut for Wout Weghorst. Thought he had an okay game. It was a little bit of a graveyard shift, but it always seems to be for our centre forwards. You know, they're a lot more involved in the hold-up play rather than getting loads of chances created for themselves. Obviously he had the one-headed chance from a nice ball from Luke Shaw, but overall was a little bit quiet. He did have an important part in the Fernandes goal. It was a nice little run-off that he did that took a defender away, that created all that space for Eriksen to play the ball into Fernandes, and obviously Fernandes with a very confident finish. Overall, I think we were good defensively. I was happy with all our players who played defensively. The really standout performances in defence for me were, I thought Martinez was really good, and I also thought Wan-Bissaka had an absolute stormer. Now, moving into midfield, Casemiro also had a really great game. Wan-Bissaka's actually in my man of the match poll, but I didn't put Casemiro in there just because I felt a bit salty because he got booked. But maybe he did deserve to be in there because Casemiro was actually really good. As I put on Twitter yesterday, he's just different flavour, different type of player. He was absolutely superb, but obviously devastated he's going to miss the Arsenal game now. Let's hope it doesn't affect us too much, but obviously when you're missing a player of that quality, it's going to affect the team. Let's hope Ten Hag can mastermind something. The one thing I will say about the game, obviously we did play okay, but I just don't feel like the players' mentality was right yesterday. I think maybe we were still hung up a little bit on the derby win, and I think we went in there a little bit too overconfident. Certain players were trying a little too much to do things on their own. At that point, I'm talking about Rashford. I feel like Rashford yesterday was very greedy, was looking for that goal to extend this scoring record, like scoring streak he was on, and I think he just needed to keep it a little bit more simple, to obviously get out his head about records and stuff and just think about the team. I think he picked to shoot when he should be passing. He was just running down blind alleyways instead of, laying the ball off, and it was just a little bit of a disappointing thing to see. Obviously we had that little bust up as well between Anthony and Bruno. Obviously they're both passionate players, and Anthony obviously wasn't taking Bruno's nonsense and obviously politely called him a puta back, but obviously we don't want to really concentrate on stuff like that. obviously it's just disappointing, like I said before. Just a bit of a bummer. We've been on, we're still unbeaten. This is the positive I take out of it. We're still on a 10-game unbeaten run, and we have played superb during that period. We did look a little bit leggy last night, especially in the second half. I would have liked to see maybe Palestri come on yesterday, but when he brought Garnacho on, I'd have maybe took Rashford off as well, brought Palestri on, kept Weghorst on the pitch. I know we didn't, but I think with those younger guys with a lot of direct runs, I think maybe keeping Weghorst on, we might have created a few more chances. But obviously, I'm not manager 10 Hag, and we have to trust in him. I'm just trying to think of anything else I can think of on the game. Yeah, other than obviously the goal, it was disappointing that we didn't create loads and loads of chances. Although I think Palace are a bit of a bogey team for us. They were very resolute last night, breaking up play in the middle, giving away little fouls to break up the play. I felt like it was a very frantic game in which we didn't quite, we needed to slow it down a little bit. First half we was decent. Second half we actually were quite poor. We gave Palace a little bit too much of the ball. I feel like we sat on our laurels a bit and tried to hold on to the lead, which you should never do in the Premier League. Once you get one, go get two, go get three, because if you don't, this is what happens. So now, guys, we're going to go into the man of the match poll. So the 4 players I put up there for you guys to vote on for man of the match was Eriksen, De Gea, Fernandes, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. In all honesty, I think Casemiro should have been in this poll instead of Eriksen, but the reason I didn't put him in because obviously he got the yellow card, and I felt a little bit salty about it because obviously he's now missing our next game. So this poll got 68 votes, which I really appreciate, guys. So in last place with 0% was Christian Eriksen. I put him in there just for the assist to the goal. It was a nice pass, and he wasn't terrible yesterday. And then in third place with 13% of the vote was Bruno Fernandes. Obviously scored the goal and did play okay, so he gets 13%. And then in second place was David De Gea with 21%. De Gea was actually really good. To be honest, he stopped us from getting beat yesterday. He made 2 worldy saves that I remember. I see him get a lot of criticism. I see a lot of people asking for a new goalkeeper. I just don't understand it. I love De Gea. I think he's been superb this season and last season. He's had a few stinker seasons while he's been at United, but majority of the time he's been one of our best players. And ultimately, he's a player that I think we should keep at the club for another 2, 3, 4 years. I think he's good enough to be our number 1. And he's improving all the time under Ten Hag at his distribution and at claiming crosses and stuff. And I think his criticism now that he's getting is just agenda driven rather than constructive criticism. Then your guys' man of the match and also my man of the match will be Aaron Wan-Bissaka. 66% of the vote he got, and I think he very much deserved it. He had a great performance. He was super good on the ball yesterday. Again, like he was versus City, he used the ball so well, and his attacking play was really good. He stood a few crosses up into the box. Obviously, didn't put it on Weghorst's head, but he played well, and he defensively superb. Obviously, that last ditch tackle against Zaha, most players wouldn't have been able to make that. They'd have been giving away a penalty, but he absolutely got it right, and he was superb. So yeah, he's at your guys' man of the match and mine. So I got a few replies to my man of the match poll, and also because I obviously asked you guys for your thoughts on the game as well. So the first one was from Mr. Craigmore 1, and he said Wan-Bissaka man of the match, good going forward, good defensively, and good on the ball. It would have been Casemiro if he didn't pick up that yellow card though. We played well, but fatigue set in. Just typical that Elise turned into David Beckham. Time to focus on Arsenal. Obviously, that's what we need to do now, concentrate on the next game. I feel like that's what United didn't do yesterday. I think we will, even though we played Casemiro and Ten Hag said we wasn't looking ahead to the next game, I think the players took their eye off the ball and didn't concentrate on the Palace game properly. And then the second tweet I got in here was from @Anirban04199677, and he said, "I was shocked by the players' body language. They didn't yet come out of the Derby win celebration." I agree with that. I feel like we still are at our heads in the crowd a little bit. Rashford needs to take his game easy, and again I agree with that. Rashford overcomplicated things yesterday, and Casemiro was class but had to get booked to make up for his teammates' sloppiness, which is a fair point. He had to make that challenge. Obviously, his challenge was, I thought, a little bit reckless, and I was a bit worried when I seen the replay of it that VAR might get involved and try and give him a red, but luckily his studs didn't go into the player's leg or anything, so obviously he just got the booking. The back four were otherwise sound, and we was denied the legit penalty. I've not come onto that properly yet, but we should have had a penalty. I think it was pretty stonewall, but the ref said it wasn't clear and obvious. They think that maybe he got a toe on the ball, but even though he got a toe on the ball, he absolutely cleaned McTominay out. In my eyes, clipped him. Should have been a penalty. And then the last tweet on this was from @Aranaya23, and he's just said Casemiro. Obviously, I do agree that Casemiro should have been in my voting, but like I said, I was feeling a little bit salty and didn't want to put him in because he got booked, and I'm mad he misses that next game, which is obviously devastating for us as fans, but it is what it is. Now, guys, we're going to go into my player ratings. Try and get through these pretty quick. Obviously, I don't like to spend as much time when it's not a positive result, but I have to do them. So De Gea for me gets an 8. Obviously, didn't have loads to do in the game, but when he was called upon, he made two world-class saves, and I thought he was superb. His distribution wasn't bad. In a game like this, I think his distribution obviously looks a lot better because he's not as much under pressure. They're not pressing as much. They're happy to sit in a low block, so we can pass the ball out from the back. I think a lot of people give him stick against City because he couldn't, do the passes he likes normally out from the back, and he had to lump it, and his long balls weren't the best. But for me, he had a really solid game yesterday. Superb performance. Was very close in my eyes for man of the match. Give him an 8. So now moving on to right back and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and for me, my man of the match gets a 9. Like I said before, he's great on the ball. Defensively superb. That tackle he made against Zaha was absolutely class. I don't think there's many other fullback / central defenders that have made that tackle without giving away a penalty. And he's just been different gravy lately. Been really good, and I think Dalot has a real battle on his hands to get that right back starting spot back. But I still think Dalot just about pips him as a starter, as our starting right back. But if Wan-Bissaka keeps this up while Dalot's out, he might really struggle to dislodge him. Now moving to right centre back, Varane, 7. I think he was really solid. He's very vocal, does his job well, and was really solid. Didn't really give them too much of a sniff. I think our back four was actually pretty good. It was mostly the best part of our team yesterday. So yeah, he gets a 7. Moving on to Martinez, also 7.5 for Martinez. I feel like he stood out a little bit more than Varane. I thought he was really good on the ball. I was a little bit nervous, obviously, when he took that elbow off Mateta. I thought that elbow was a little bit suspect. Maybe should have been looked at. He jumps up to look for the ball, and I just thought he looked a little bit at Martinez when he came in. Obviously, jumps up then, put his eyes on the ball, but put the elbow right into his face. and another game could possibly be given as a red card, but maybe I'm being a bit harsh because obviously I'm bitter that we drew. But yeah, I thought Martinez was really good. He was very good at getting one-on-one with his man and nicking the ball. Kept on getting in front of Mateta and then Edouard. So I thought he had a really good game. Moving on to Luke Shaw at left back, 7. Wasn't as good a game as he's had lately, but it was still a very good game. I think Rashford let him down last night. Was being too greedy. He was making the overlapping runs but weren't getting the ball. Rashford was like a man on the mission, like he had to score a goal instead of just keeping his game simple and concentrating on the things that he needed to do. Then we move now into the midfield. Casemiro. I'm actually going to give Casemiro an 8. Obviously, he should have been a man of the match, but like I said, I'll say it again, I was feeling very salty that he got booked. Thought he had a really, really good game. Was great on the ball, broke up play really well. Unfortunately, he had to take that yellow card because of a bit of sloppiness from his teammates, like an Earban said, and then he had to make that challenge. Zaha would have been clean through. Well, not clean through because we had a player coming over, but would still have had a good chance on goal. So he needed to make that challenge, and typically he now misses the Arsenal game. But we did win the last Arsenal game with McTominay in midfield, so maybe, McTominay may put on one of his rare masterclasses in there and we'll get lucky against Arsenal. Then moving on to Eriksen, I'm going to give Eriksen a 7.5. Obviously, he moved the ball around well. He actually was pretty good defensively yesterday. There was a few times where Zaha, with Shaw bombing on, Zaha down that left-hand side, made a few decent runs in behind, but he was covered really well by Eriksen. He used it, even though he's not as quick as Zaha, he used his body well to get in front of him and slow him down, and he was actually quite good defensively, and he got the assist, so he gets 7.5. Then moving into the number 10 position, Bruno Fernandes. Fernandes for me also gets an 8. Scored a goal, was decent without lighting the world on fire, but obviously he scored the goal, so he gets an 8 from me. Then moving to the right hand side, Anthony. I've got to think about this. I'm going to give Anthony a 6, average 6. Don't think it was his best performance. I've not been super impressed with his performances lately, but he's been steady and okay, 6s and 7s. I think since he did that spin and he got a lot of stick, I think his confidence has been knocked. One of the lads in my group chat, Theo, said put that in there before, and I do agree with him. I think he has lost a bit of confidence. I think he needs to find that. Fuck what people say, fuck what Scholes says, fuck everybody else. Be your own person. The guy is a quality player, and I think he just needs to find a bit of swagger and a bit of arrogance back and start taking people on, not care what people think. I enjoyed when he did the spin. He actually, sorry about early on, I'm a bit tired. He actually created a chance off that spin and obviously just overhit the pass. And I don't think you should take it to heart what pundits are saying, because British media beeps. I'm going to use the C word then, but I better not. Don't want to get in trouble off YouTube. But yeah, he looks like he's lost a bit of confidence, and I want him to get that back, because there is a world-class player in Anthony. I can see it. He's a little bit one-footed, and he needs to work on his right foot a little bit more. But I think that'll come with time. Moving over to left-hand side, Rashford. I'm actually going to give Rashford a 5 for yesterday. I thought he was really selfish. His performance annoyed me a little bit. I'm not going to jump on him too much because obviously he's been our best player lately, but I was really disappointed with his performance yesterday. I feel like he felt a little bit like a big-time Charlie, and he let the team down by being greedy and not passing the ball off right. Touch just looked a little bit off. So yeah, he gets a 5. Now we move on to the debutant, Wout Weghorst. I'm going to give him a generous 7. thought, you know, he held up the ball well. He had that headed chance. Maybe was moving backwards from the ball a little bit, so couldn't get the power on it. But I think, you know, give him more time to play with his teammates. I think they'll look for his runs more, put a few more crosses into the box. I think obviously he played a vital role in the goal. That little run off he did out towards the left hand side when Eriksen had the ball, pulled one of their defenders away and gave the space for Fernandes to run into, and it created the goal. Obviously Eriksen made the pass and Fernandes put the finish away, but I think Weghorst was vital in the goal. So yeah, for me, generous 7 because it's his debut and I don't want to be too harsh on him as well. Then on to the subs. I get in my head who exactly were. I know Garnacho came on. I'm going to give him a 6. He didn't really affect the game that much. So yeah, he gets the 6. McTominay came on. I'm going to give McTominay a 5. He gave away the free kick that got them the goal. Although he should have had a penalty, McTominay should have had a penalty for me, pretty stonewall, but VAR decided against giving it us. If it was in Liverpool, any other team, they'd have mostly got that penalty, but it just seems that we don't always get the rub of the green, and all people are going to say, oh, you got that offside. But by the rules, that goal against City should have been given. And then I've seen videos of loads of goals that have been like that before that have been given, so all these people jumping on it because it's United, it's just typical, and especially the media doing it, it's just typical. They've been talking about it for a week, but they won't talk about the McTominay stonewall penalty. That's obvious. I'm trying to remember who else came on. Just give me a second while I try and pick my brain of who else came on. Fred came on. I'm just going to give him a 6. Didn't really do anything wrong. Gives us energy. Maybe I'd have brought Fred on instead of McTominay yesterday, but you know, it's what it is. And I can't remember who else come on. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit tired. It is 10:30, and I was up since 5 this morning because my kids are buggers. So yeah, that's the play ratings. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Obviously, I appreciate everybody watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Obviously, check out the sponsors. The link will be in the video description. Add me on Twitter, guys. I always put my handle in the video description as well. Obviously, I'll be doing my match preview for Arsenal most probably tomorrow. I'm also recording tomorrow afternoon while my kids are in school. Obviously a big game coming up, and obviously I hope we get the win. It's a bit more difficult now without Casemiro, but it is what it is, and hopefully we will get a positive result and shut Arsenal fans up, because they've been all over it on Twitter saying that we've bottled it already and stuff, and you know, mouthing off. So hopefully we can put it up the Arsenal. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Catch me on the next one. Cheers.